Item Number SCP-Y-059. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-Y-059 infected individuals are to be immediately quarantined in specially designated isolation chambers at Site Y-1, reinforced to withstand significant structural stress and equipped with remote monitoring devices for continuous observation. Each isolation chamber must be equipped with audio recording equipment capable of capturing extremely low-frequency sound phenomena. All personnel interacting with SCP-Y-059-1 instances must utilize protective gear designed to prevent injury from contaminated sharp objects, specifically rusted metals, and to mitigate the risk of further infections. Personnel must undergo rigorous inspection and sterilization procedures upon exit from containment chambers. Infected individuals are to be thoroughly documented, including complete medical histories, precise timelines of infection progression, detailed records of auditory phenomena experiences, and continuous physiological monitoring. Recordings of auditory phenomena are to be analyzed daily by research staff for anomaly detection and progression tracking. Upon the petrification phase of the SCP-Y-059-1 instance, physical movement of the infected individual is strictly prohibited to prevent catastrophic injury. Automated medical support teams must monitor vital signs until termination. Post-mortem analysis and recording via SCP-Y-010 Death Knell are mandatory for every instance, with resultant narratives documented comprehensively for cross-reference and further study. Any new infections must be immediately reported to Site Director and cataloged in the SCP-Y-059 database. Comprehensive environmental sweeps for potential SCP-Y-059 containment sites within Provisional Reality-Y-1 are mandatory, following each confirmed infection case to prevent potential outbreaks. Description: SCP-Y-059, colloquially termed Rust Brand, is an anomalous infection exclusively occurring within Provisional Reality-Y-1. Infection probability is exceptionally low, approximately 0.296%, and specifically triggered by injuries caused by rusted or severely degraded metallic objects. Even superficial abrasions or minor cuts inflicted by contaminated metals can initiate infection, highlighting its unpredictable and subtle nature. Initially, infected individuals exhibit no immediate or overt physical symptoms, complicating early detection and diagnosis. The earliest identifiable manifestation is an auditory anomaly perceived exclusively by the infected individual, emerging 1 to 3 hours post-infection. Subjects universally describe this auditory phenomenon as profoundly unsettling, alternating unpredictably between prolonged, eerie creaking, akin to rusted metal slowly bending or fracturing. Despite the internal perception, external detection has proven the auditory anomaly's genuine physical existence. Sensitive recording devices placed before the mouths of infected individuals consistently document these phenomena as extremely faint, infrasonic emissions below typical human auditory thresholds. These auditory experiences progressively intensify throughout the infection, increasingly distressing the subject. Approximately 10 hours post-infection, individuals report internal sensations of mechanical transformation, consistently described as rhythmic, mechanical twisting, originating from within the chest cavity. Subjects frequently interpret this sensation metaphorically as their hearts transforming into mechanical gears or clockwork. This sensation progressively escalates alongside significant increases in anxiety, paranoia, and general emotional distress directly correlated with auditory phenomana's intensification. Between approximately 35 to 82 hours after initial infection, subjects undergo rapid and severe physiological transformation characterized by progressive immobilization, occurring over approximately a 15-minute period. During this critical period, subjects exhibit severe motor impairment, including escalating muscular rigidity, stiffness, and audible internal creaking indicative of petrification or calcification processes. Attempts at resistance or forced movement cause acute, debilitating pain vividly described as bones, quote, turning to stone, culminating in complete petrification. This immobilization results in subjects collapsing into rigid, fixed postures, entirely unresponsive to external stimuli. Attempts to reposition petrified subjects invariably lead to catastrophic physical harm, including significant skeletal fractures and internal injuries. Notably, despite complete immobilization, physiological functions and neurological activity persist unpredictably, ranging from minutes to several days. Factors influencing survival duration post-petrification remain uncertain, prompting intensive scientific investigation into underlying biological or anomalous mechanisms. The profound complexity of SCP-Y-059 was conclusively demonstrated through experimentation utilizing SCP-Y-010, Death Knell, an anomalous typewriter capable of generating detailed death narratives. Analysis of infected subjects' post-mortem narratives revealed extraordinary insights into a concurrent perceptual reality experienced during petrification. According to these narratives, infected individuals perceive themselves awakening in a surreal landscape, universally described as an immense, seemingly endless junkyard comprised exclusively of severely rusted and corroded metallic debris. This alternate environment contains twisted remnants of aircraft fuselages, abandoned automotive carcasses, rusted industrial machinery, and myriad smaller metallic items aggregated into colossal, unstable structures extending to the horizon. Within the Death Knell reports, subjects consistently perceive this environment as oppressive, desolate, and permeated by an overwhelming sense of decay and abandonment. Initially disoriented, subjects attempt to navigate this alien rust world, reporting escalating feelings of dread and isolation. Approximately 90 minutes into their perceived alternative existence, subjects experience a rapid intensification of auditory phenomena, identical yet significantly amplified compared to earlier stages of physical infection. Concurrently, subjects universally report escalating paranoia and an increasing certainty of being observed or stalked by an unseen malevolent presence. As exploration progresses, subjects consistently encounter increasingly overt indicators of a hidden pursuer, including rustling noises, metallic scraping, and shifting debris. The unseen entity profoundly exacerbates psychological distress, transforming paranoia into profound terror. Attempts to identify or confront this entity invariably fail. Close proximity triggers overwhelming terror through a sudden, intense auditory assault, characterized by deafening, metallic groaning. Narratives describe frantic attempts by subjects to flee through complex, labyrinthian expanses of rusted debris. During these desperate escapes, subjects invariably sustain injuries revealing anomalous internal anatomical transformations, explicitly described as complex amalgamations of organic tissue and mechanical components, gears, cogs, and metallic structures, actively supplanting biological systems. Discovering these transformations precipitates acute psychological distress and existential horror. Ultimately, narratives uniformly conclude with subjects overtaken by the unseen pursuer. At this critical juncture, internal mechanical activity abruptly ceases, directly correlating with the cessation of vital signs in the petrified physical body within baseline reality. This simultaneous termination strongly implies the anomalous existence of interconnected physical and metaphysical realities, unique to SCP-Y-059 infection. The anomalous phenomena associated with SCP-Y-059, including its dual reality state, petrification mechanics, and profound metaphysical implications, suggest intricate interactions between physical and metaphysical dimensions, exclusive to Provisional Reality-Y-1. Comprehensive, ongoing research remains vital to fully understand SCP-Y-059's broader implications, inherent dangers, and potential containment strategies. Incident Report Y-59-1. Date: May 12th, 2000. Location: Field Station Epsilon 2, Provisional Reality-Y-1. Subject: Research Assistant Leonard Green. Incident Overview. Research Assistant Green suffered a minor laceration while conducting a routine examination of anomalously rusted metallic artifacts retrieved from Provisional Reality-Y-1. Despite immediate medical attention, Green reported auditory disturbances approximately 2 hours post-exposure, characterized by distressing creaking and resonant metallic groans. Green's auditory phenomena progressively intensified, culminating in pronounced psychological distress within 24 hours. Monitoring equipment successfully captured infrasonic emissions corresponding precisely with Green's reported auditory hallucinations, confirming their physical manifestation. Approximately 48 hours post-infection, Green reported acute chest discomfort, vividly described as his heart being methodically twisted like mechanical clockwork. Green's emotional state deteriorated rapidly, prompting his isolation for safety and containment. At 67 hours, Green entered the immobilization phase, characterized by escalating muscular rigidity and agonizing internal creaking sounds audible even externally. Green's body petrified completely within 15 minutes, immobilizing him mid-attempt to reach for assistance. Despite apparent physical death, monitoring indicated continuing neurological activity for 6 days, ending abruptly with no discernible cause. Death knell analysis revealed Green's metaphysical narrative, awakening within an expansive rust world, pursued by an unseen entity, culminating in a harrowing chase and traumatic encounter mirroring his final petrified state. Incident Report Y-59-2. Date: May 26th, 2000. Location: Remote Excavation Site H7, Provisional Reality-Y-1. Subject: Technician Maya Ford. Incident Overview. Technician Ford incurred a minor puncture wound from a rusted excavation tool during artifact retrieval operations. Symptoms manifested swiftly. Within 90 minutes, Ford experienced intense auditory hallucinations, initially perceived as distant, metallic groans, escalating into overwhelmingly loud, resonant sounds. Ford quickly exhibited acute paranoia, convinced of unseen observers. Audio analysis confirmed her described auditory phenomena externally, via sensitive, infrasonic detection equipment. Within 26 hours, Ford reported severe internal mechanical sensations. Psychological distress peaked, prompting containment within isolation chambers. Surveillance logs documented Ford's desperate pleas regarding an internal gear painfully grinding in her chest. At 40 hours post-infection, Ford began petrifying. Surveillance captured the distressing event as Ford attempted to move, audibly creaking as her skeletal structure calcified, finally immobilizing in a pose of apparent defensive reaction. Despite physical petrification, vital signs persisted for 72 hours. Death knell analysis provided a disturbing parallel narrative. Ford wandered a rusted planetary landscape, ultimately pursued and overcome by a relentless, unseen pursuer, triggering traumatic internal mechanical failure coinciding precisely with physical cessation. Incident Report Y-59-5. Date: June 1st, 2000. Subject: Security Personnel Jacob Hargrave. The following is a SCP-Y-010 death knell generated narrative for Security Personnel Jacob Hargrave, who had become an SCP-Y-059-1 instance contracting the infection. The following is an audio log recorded by Dr. Stearns, head researcher of SCP-Y-010 death knell. Begin log.
Jacob Hargrave stood trembling in the containment chamber, the oppressive silence punctuated only by his increasingly ragged breaths. Sweat dripped coldly down his temples, blending with the metallic tang of fear. His eyes darted frantically, perceiving shadows that twisted mockingly around rusted beams and oxidized metal panels lining the room. The rhythmic, nauseating sensation in his chest intensified, each grinding twist of the mechanical cog within feeling like an iron vise tightening relentlessly around his heart. As the petrification surged forward, Jacob's limbs began to stiffen, his muscles seizing painfully. Desperately, he attempted to move, but each motion elicited agonizing creaks that reverberated internally, bones grinding into immobility, as if rusting from within. He gasped soundlessly as the room around him dimmed, vision fading into obscurity, consciousness plunging into absolute darkness. The Foundation doctors and researchers stared unnerved and confused, able only to watch as he petrified and faded into the dark. When Jacob awoke, he was no longer in the sterile confines of the containment chamber. Instead, he found himself in an alien landscape, suffused with an eerie, rust-hued glow emanating from a sky that stretched infinitely above, heavy with the oppressive weight of corrosion and decay. His feet sunk slightly into an unstable surface composed entirely of rusted metal debris, twisted girders, shattered vehicles, corroded aircraft frames, and countless smaller metallic detritus, all welded together by centuries of oxidation. He moved cautiously, his every step punctuated by the crackling rust beneath him. The ambient sound, an unsettling blend of grinding metal and distant, mournful metallic groaning akin to whale-like calls, began softly, gradually amplifying. Each groan seemed to reverberate within Jacob's bones, echoing his internal torment. Anxiety blossomed quickly into paranoia, then into overwhelming dread as he sensed a presence stalking just beyond sight, hidden by towering heaps of twisted scrap. Jacob navigated the maze-like terrain, his pace quickening as panic surged. The sound around him grew increasingly hostile, the metallic groans now accompanied by sharp, shifting noises, metal sliding, scraping, approaching. Heart hammering painfully, Jacob's feet tangled in the jagged debris, slicing deeply into his calf. He fell forward, sprawling across rusted blades and crumbling iron, yet strangely felt no pain. Glancing down at the wound, his eyes widened in horror. Flesh torn open, Jacob beheld not blood and muscle, but a bizarre amalgamation of mechanical gears, rusted clockwork, and twisted metal apparatus spinning and clicking within his body. A silent scream caught in his throat, the realization crashing over him like an icy tidal wave. He was becoming one with the rusted landscape, transitioning slowly into a grotesque amalgam of man and machine. The sudden deafening groan resonated directly behind him, vibrating through his body and rattling the very foundations of his being. Jacob felt a presence looming impossibly close, massive and inexorable, emanating an aura of profound malevolence. Paralyzed by sheer terror, he could not bring himself to turn and face whatever monstrosity awaited. Jacob's heart gear accelerated, whirling at terrifying speeds as panic consumed him utterly. Then, the colossal groan erupted once more, overwhelming all senses, obliterating thought and reason. A presence pressed inexorably closer, an unimaginable entity cloaked in rust and ruin, consuming the space behind him. With nightmarish certainty, Jacob realized escape was impossible, confrontation unthinkable. As the terrible metallic cacophony reached its crescendo, Jacob's internal gear shuddered violently, the mechanical revolutions within him spiraling wildly out of control. He collapsed to his knees, mind fracturing under the sonic assault, overwhelmed by terror that shattered his consciousness into fragments of desperate, incoherent pleading. Then, in an instant, absolute silence. Jacob Hargrave's heart gear seized abruptly, its grinding rotations ceasing entirely, marking the final, silent moment of his existence. His rigid form lay trapped within the rusted world's embrace, eternally bound to the decaying landscape as the malevolent presence receded slowly into the shadows, awaiting its next unfortunate visitor.
This is Director Waller, signing off on another report at Site-Y-1. I hope you'll consider subscribing to stay up to date with our latest findings. I eagerly look forward to having your audience in future reports.